Some people move through the world in ways that seem slightly different, almost mysterious. Have you ever noticed someone who seems to experience life on a completely different frequency? Those individuals with extraordinary mental capabilities often develop unique habits that might appear strange to others, but actually reveal profound ways of understanding and interacting with the world. Imagine your brain as a complex machine that processes information differently, creating patterns and connections that most people never see. These unique habits are not about being better or more important. They are simply different ways of navigating life's challenges, of understanding the world's intricate details that often remain hidden from casual observation. The first strange habit is something we might call constant mental wandering. While others focus on immediate tasks, these individuals have minds that never truly stop exploring. Their thoughts are like rivers that flow through multiple landscapes simultaneously. They could be solving a complex problem while simultaneously analyzing a conversation's emotional undertones and wondering about the philosophical implications of a random observation. Think about a person who seems to be physically present but mentally exploring entire universes. They might appear distracted, but in reality, they are processing information at a level most cannot comprehend. Their brain is constantly making connections, asking questions, exploring possibilities that others might never consider. This isn't about being unfocused, it's about having an extraordinarily active internal world. This mental wandering isn't a weakness. It's a sophisticated way of understanding reality. While others see things in black and white, these individuals see entire spectrums of possibility. A simple conversation becomes an opportunity to explore complex psychological dynamics. A mundane object becomes a gateway to understanding deeper scientific or philosophical principles. The second strange habit relates to their unique approach to social interactions. They don't just hear words, they decode entire communication landscapes. Imagine someone who can sense the emotional subtext of a conversation, who understands the unspoken dynamics, the subtle psychological currents that flow beneath surface interactions. They might seem awkward in traditional social settings, but they are actually performing incredibly complex emotional and intellectual translations. Their sense of humor becomes a perfect example of this complexity. They find comedy in intricate wordplay, in subtle ironies, in observations about human behavior that others might completely miss. A joke for them is not just about making people laugh, but about revealing deeper truths about human psychology, about the fascinating ways we communicate and understand each other. If these words feel like they're pulling something inside you, let yourself respond gently, perhaps with a like or a quiet moment shared below. And if this journey resonates, stay with us. We are creating a space where understanding is not about fitting in, but about celebrating the unique ways our minds can work. The third strange habit involves their approach to learning and information consumption. While most people follow linear paths of understanding, these individuals create complex mental maps. They don't just learn, they deconstruct information, explore its origins, understand its interconnections. Reading a book becomes an adventure of exploring entire intellectual ecosystems. Imagine someone who doesn't just read a piece of information but immediately starts connecting it with other knowledge domains. A historical fact becomes a gateway to understanding psychological patterns. A scientific discovery triggers reflections on philosophical principles. Their mind is not a storage unit but a dynamic, creative system that constantly transforms information into insights. Their learning process is not about accumulating facts but about understanding deeper principles. They are less interested in memorizing information and more fascinated by understanding how things work, why they exist, what connections can be discovered. Education for them is not a task to complete but a continuous journey of exploration and wonder. The fourth strange habit relates to their emotional experiences. Feelings are not simple for them. They are complex landscapes of interconnected thoughts, memories, and sensations. A single moment can trigger profound philosophical reflections, deep emotional responses that go far beyond surface-level reactions. They experience emotions with an intensity that can be both beautiful and challenging. A piece of music is not just a sequence of sounds but an entire emotional journey. A conversation is not just an exchange of words but a complex dance of psychological interactions. Their sensitivity becomes both their greatest challenge and their most profound gift. The fifth strange habit emerges in their approach to problem solving, a mental process that transforms ordinary challenges into extraordinary opportunities for innovation. These individuals don't just solve problems. They deconstruct them, explore their fundamental essence, and generate solutions that most people would never imagine possible. Loneliness becomes a familiar companion, but not the loneliness of isolation. It is the loneliness of profound understanding. They walk through the world carrying insights that few can comprehend, sensing depths that most people do not even know exist. This creates a unique form of existential solitude, where connection becomes less about quantity and more about rare, meaningful encounters that truly resonate. Their emotional intelligence operates on multiple levels simultaneously. They can understand the explicit communication happening in a conversation while simultaneously processing the implicit messages, the unspoken dynamics, the subtle psychological currents that flow beneath surface interactions. This multilayered perception is both an extraordinary gift and a profound challenge. The relationship with their own intelligence becomes a complex psychological journey. They learn to understand that intelligence is not a fixed characteristic but a dynamic, adaptable capacity. It's about curiosity, about the willingness to question, to learn, to transform. True intelligence lies not in knowing everything, but in maintaining a perpetual openness to new understanding. Sensory experiences take on a different dimension entirely. A piece of music is not just a sequence of sounds, but a complex emotional landscape. A visual artwork becomes a conversation, a philosophical statement. They experience the world with a sensitivity that transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary revelations. Every sensation carries multiple layers of meaning, every experience a potential gateway to deeper understanding. The internal dialogue becomes a sophisticated ecosystem of thoughts, emotions, and reflections. They are constantly in conversation with themselves, analyzing their experiences, challenging their own assumptions, exploring the intricate mechanisms of their consciousness. This is not a sign of instability, but of a profound commitment to self-understanding and personal growth. Their approach to failure and success differs fundamentally from conventional perspectives. Failure is not a final state but a crucial part of the learning process. Success is not about external validation but about continuous personal transformation. They understand that growth happens in the spaces between what is known and what is yet to be discovered. Emotional regulation becomes an art form for these individuals. They develop techniques to manage their heightened sensitivity, to transform potential emotional overwhelm into creative energy. They learn to use their deep understanding as a tool for personal and collective growth, turning their intense perception into a source of profound insight and compassion. The boundaries between intellectual and emotional experiences become increasingly blurred. They recognize that thinking and feeling are not separate processes but interconnected dimensions of human experience. Their intellectual capacity becomes a pathway to deeper emotional intelligence, their emotional depth a source of profound intellectual insights. Time itself is experienced differently. Linear progression becomes less important than the quality of experience, the depth of understanding, the potential for transformation. They live not just in the present moment, but in a complex temporal landscape that includes past insights, current experiences, and potential futures simultaneously. The ultimate transformation of extraordinary intelligence arrives not as a destination, but as a profound journey of understanding that transcends individual experience and touches the very essence of human potential. This is where the complex landscape of the mind opens into a broader, more compassionate understanding of existence itself. Imagine intelligence as a living, breathing river of potential that flows through every moment of our lives. Each individual carries within them an extraordinary capacity for growth, for understanding, for reimagining their own existence. The most remarkable aspect of exceptional intellectual capability is not about being different, but about recognizing the universal potential that exists within every human being. The path of self-discovery becomes a sacred journey of continuous transformation. Those with extraordinary mental capacities learn that true intelligence is not about knowing everything, but about maintaining an endless curiosity, a perpetual openness to new perspectives. They understand that every experience, every interaction, every challenge is an opportunity for growth, for deeper understanding, for expanding the boundaries of human potential. Healing begins when they recognize that their perceived differences are not limitations, but unique pathways to understanding. The mind that once felt isolated, that struggled to find connection, starts to see itself as part of a larger, more intricate human experience. Intelligence transforms from a personal attribute to a collective journey of human potential, of mutual understanding, of compassionate awareness. The world starts to look different when viewed through this lens of profound understanding. Social interactions become less about fitting in and more about genuine connection. They learn to bridge the gap between their intense inner world and the broader human experience, finding ways to communicate their insights that invite, rather than intimidate. Their unique way of perceiving becomes a gift, not a burden. Emotional resilience emerges as their most profound superpower. They develop an ability to navigate complex psychological landscapes with a combination of sensitivity and strength. Challenges become opportunities, difficulties become teachers, and every moment becomes a potential source of insight and growth. Their mind becomes not a prison of overthinking, but a sanctuary of creative potential. The concept of success transforms completely. It's no longer about external achievements or meeting societal expectations, but about continuous personal evolution, about staying true to one's unique way of experiencing the world. They learn to measure their worth not by comparison, but by their commitment to understanding, to growth, to genuine human connection. Relationships take on a new dimension of depth and authenticity. They learn to communicate their complex inner world with compassion, to find connection not by changing themselves, but by being fully, unapologetically who they are. They attract individuals who appreciate their depth, who are willing to engage in meaningful, transformative conversations. The boundaries between individual and collective consciousness begin to blur. They start to see how their unique way of thinking can contribute to broader human understanding. Their insights become bridges, their experiences become invitations for others to explore their own potential, their own unique way of perceiving the world. Learning becomes a lifelong adventure, not a task to be completed. Every experience becomes an opportunity for growth, every interaction a chance to understand something new about themselves and the world. They cultivate a sense of wonder that transforms potential isolation into a deep, meaningful connection with life itself. Their sensitivity, once a source of challenge, becomes their greatest strength. They learn to channel their intense perceptions into creative expression, into problem solving, into creating meaningful change in the world. They understand that their unique way of seeing is not a limitation, but a profound gift that can bring new perspectives, new solutions, new ways of understanding human potential. The journey of understanding oneself becomes a journey of understanding humanity. They recognize that every individual carries within them an extraordinary capacity for growth, for transformation, for profound understanding. Their path becomes an invitation for others to explore their own unique potential, to see beyond limiting beliefs, to embrace the complexity of human experience. If this story helped you see a part of yourself more clearly, leave a trace, a like, a comment, a decision to walk with us. Subscribe and let this space be part of your own healing. We are creating a community of understanding, of growth, of genuine human connection. The final transformation is not about becoming something different, but about fully embracing who you already are. Intelligence is not about being better than others, but about being more fully, more authentically yourself. It's about recognizing the extraordinary potential that exists within every moment, within every experience, within every human being. The 7 strange habits are not quirks to be hidden, but unique expressions of a profound way of experiencing the world. They are invitations to understand that intelligence is not a fixed trait, but a dynamic, beautiful journey of continuous discovery and growth.